Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So this is a follow-up to the video that I did last night about the demonstration at the University of Virginia. There were a group of white supremacists who were marching and protesting on campus bearing torches. They also had demonstrations near the campus as well. And as I mentioned yesterday, they were chanting White Lives Matter, you will not replace us, Jews will not replace us. And this article from the Washington Post goes into some details that I did not have at the time when I posted my video last night. This article points out how there were some counter protesters present, and apparently at least one of those counter protesters sprayed some kind of chemical at these protesters, and there were some skirmishes later, and medical attention and assistance needed to be provided. The police broke up a fight after people started to, fight with each other. Also, this article points out how last night's demonstration comes on the eve of the Unite the Right rally, which is going to take place today around the country. And the people and groups that are organizing that rally, they claim that they are being persecuted for being white and that white history is being erased. And Saturday's demonstration is going to take place at Emancipation Park. That's where the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee is in the city of Charlottesville, Virginia. So they plan to protest there. The city has decided to remove that statue, that Robert E. Lee statue, and that has caused a lot of this uproar among these white supremacist alt-right groups. And apparently they're waiting for a ruling from the judge on that issue. And many people have expressed concern about violence erupting at these demonstrations. Because as I said before, there were counter demonstrations last night and there was some kind of skirmish. And because of those issues, the city tried to have the demonstration moved to another place away from the downtown area. But the organizers, they brought a suit and they were supported by the ACLU. And now the demonstration is going to continue to take place at Emancipation Park. Now, what I want to do is just go through this article and break down some things for you all. The first thing I have to address is this slogan that they're using, White Lives Matter. First of all, by using that slogan, they are appropriating the terminology of the social justice movement in this country called Black Lives Matter. That's something that these people are known for, stealing people's ideas and running with it and distorting it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this, man. This society constantly reinforces that white lives matter and black lives don't. So there is no need for these people to be running around here talking about white lives matter. There's no need for that at all because this system protects white lives. This system values white lives, whereas this system couldn't give a damn about black lives. And every day we're reminded of how little they care about black lives. Every other day we hear about these police killing our people, and often these killings are captured on video, but yet these killers get away with killing black people. These pigs who masquerade as cops get away with killing black people, and nothing happens. They walk. So under those circumstances, black people are crying out that black lives matter. That shouldn't even be something controversial. That's not even a demand. It's simply acknowledging that we are human beings, that our lives have value. But these people see that statement as something controversial, as something to be attacked. And this tells you their mindset. By saying white lives matter, they are making a mockery of the black people, the many countless black people who have been killed by these police. These people, these white racists, They have a victim mentality. I mean, often you will hear these black conservatives talk about how black people have a victim mentality, and you will hear these white racists say that. But here you have the most privileged group in society, young white men running around here crying about how white lives matter. If that's not a victim mentality, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. And I want to go into this whole thing about what they were saying about white history, talking about how they feel like they're being persecuted for being white. How are you being persecuted for being white when you control this society? When you control the economy of this society? When you control the politics of this society? When you control the criminal justice system of this society? When you have control over the educational institutions in this society? How in the hell are you being persecuted for being white when you are the most privileged in this society? When you are the most wealthy in this society? When you're the most educated in this society? How in the hell are you being persecuted for being white? It's black people who are being persecuted for being black from the moment we came to this country. But yet you had these damn racist white supremacists talking about and crying about they're being persecuted for being white. These people are nothing but some crybabies, some punk-ass crybabies. They're talking about white history in America is being erased. How in the hell is white history being erased when all we hear about is white history? From the moment we go to school and to the moment we graduate from college or from our graduate programs, all we hear about is white history. All we hear about are the accomplishments of white people. But yet you had these people crying about white history being erased. When you have all these museums celebrating and commemorating white history. When you turn on your television, all you're doing is being bombarded with white history and white accomplishments day in and day out, hour after hour, but yet you have these people crying about white history being erased. Crying about this. We see white history all around us when we look at the monuments and the statues and all that stuff. Wherever you are, it's some white man or some white woman being elevated and celebrated. But yet you have these white supremacists whining about how white history is being erased in America. Even when you go to buy something and you take out your money, what do you see? Nothing but white faces. But yet you have these idiots, these racists, these white supremacists crying and whining about white history being erased. White history is not being erased. And I'm sure that they're crying about this statue, this Robert E. Lee statue being taken down. That is not erasing white history. It is removing a statue. A statue is supposed to be a sign of honor and respect. It's a way that you commemorate something, the way that you honor something. Robert E. Lee is not worthy to be honored. That man was a traitor to this nation. The Civil War killed more people than many wars. Hundreds of thousands of people died because you had some traitors, some treacherous turncoats who waged war against their own government in order to protect the most oppressive, racist institution in human history, the slave trade. There is nothing honorable about that. People can read about Robert E. Lee in a history book, but he doesn't deserve to be honored in the 21st century, in a time where we're supposed to be moving forward when it appears that we're doing nothing but moving backwards. These people went to war to defend their right to enslave black people. But yet we're supposed to honor that. Whenever there's a revolution in countries, when people are moving forward, they get rid of the statues in the past. Just like when the USA invaded Iraq and some of the people there were happy to see the United States in there. They were more happy to see Saddam Hussein toppled. They were more happy to see that, regardless of who was in the country or whatever. And when that happened, they took down those statues of Saddam Hussein. They took down those photographs and huge paintings of that man because they saw him as a tyrant. Just like during the Cold War, after that war ended, they began to take down statues of Stalin and Lenin and other Marxists. They took down those statues. And it's time for us to take down these statues of hate, of these Confederates and all that kind of stuff. They don't deserve to be honored with statues. The only place where that Confederate flag and all those symbols belong is in a museum, much like how the Holocaust Museum recognizes the horrors of the past. That's what needs to happen with these statues. That's not erasing your white racist history. It's putting that racist history in its proper context and away from being in a position of honor and putting it where it belongs in some dusty museum somewhere. So I had to get this off my chest, man. And as more developments come out, I will be talking about this further. And I just think that this is an opportunity for us to unite with other groups who have been targeted by these white supremacists. These white supremacists hate immigrants, they hate Muslims, they hate Jews, they hate all these different groups of people. And these groups of people have every incentive to unite against these white supremacists, these racists. All people need to unite against these. All people of goodwill need to unite against these white supremacists. And I want to address this issue of confronting these racists. This article pointed out how there were some skirmishes and all that kind of stuff. I don't encourage violence, but I do encourage people to protest against these white supremacists. We must resist these white supremacists on every single level. And the most important level is the political level. That's the most important area. Because these white supremacists, this alt-right movement, they are running candidates for office. They are supporting candidates that support their agenda. And we must do everything in our power to prevent their candidates from being elected. Everything in our power to do so. Meaning that every single person that hears this video, every single black person who is able should be registered to vote and should be informed about the candidates and their positions on the issues. And we have to organize our vote. Not just vote, but we need to put forth candidates that are progressive, that will fight against this agenda of this alt-right movement. Donald Trump was their candidate. When Donald Trump was elected, these white supremacists had a convention shortly afterward, and they were celebrating his election with Nazi salutes. They were celebrating it because they knew that Jeff Sessions was their man. They knew that Donald Trump was going to push forward ideas that they support. And it's no coincidence that Donald Trump is attacking affirmative action, talking about using the Justice Department to go after colleges and universities' affirmative action programs. Such programs made it possible for people like me to get a law degree, for many of us to get a college education. But they want to dismantle those programs. They want to destroy those programs. They want to ratchet up this war on drugs, that will do nothing but increase the incarceration of black people. That's what they want to do. They have some sham voter fraud committee, which is designed to do nothing but suppress the black vote. The fact that they are going after the black vote, trying to suppress it, tells you just how important our right to vote is. The fact that for years, black people were subject to poll taxes, they were subjected to terrorism and literacy tests so that they would not be able to vote. There is a reason why they don't want you to vote. So we have to fight these people on the political front. That is the most important area that we need to fight these white supremacists. But we also need to confront these people in the streets. We need to confront these people at these demonstrations. We need to voice our opinions with our bodies, letting the world know that these people and their message is not acceptable. We have to let the world know that these parasites, these racist bastards, will be challenged at every turn. Otherwise, these people will feel comfortable. They will grow in numbers and grow in strength. We can't allow these people to grow. We have to crush this movement at its inception. So we have a fight on our hands. Now, I don't have a problem with people expressing their First Amendment rights, speaking on the issues and all that kind of stuff. But as they have the right to protest, so do we. And we should be out there challenging them, fighting against them, resisting their message and their agenda. That's what we have to do. That's our fight. So as there are more developments to the story, I will report on it. So tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.